Hey y'all, so this video is going to be a little bit different. I wasn't going to talk about coronavirus, but I feel like there are a few things we can talk about. I mean, I'm not a doctor, I don't know everything there is to know about viruses and sickness and how to deal with these things, but I have a general idea, as most people do, and I feel like it's important to talk about, we're being told right now to sort of panic. And so this is kind of what urged me to talk about it. Seeing this tweet from Ariana Grande. She's basically like condemning people for taking it lightly, for not being as worried about this. And if I look around me, nobody is worried about this. People are going on with their lives. And so when I see a celebrity tweet something like this, it makes me feel like, okay, why do they want us to freak out? Okay, so even for the people that are like not conspiracy type of people, normies, you have to understand something about conspiracies and the whole realm of this sort of way of thinking. So the way these things work, these systems that keep us in place, it doesn't necessarily mean everybody is in on it. Like, it doesn't necessarily even mean Ariana Grande is in on it. You see what I'm saying? So, if there's a darkness to something that's keeping things, like keeping wheels spinning, people won't know why they do the things they do, necessarily. So they could be in on it, quote unquote, without knowing it. They could just be playing their little part. And so the normies, the NPCs, the mainstream people that are just sort of robotic in their functions, they go to work, they don't really have time to think about these things and really awaken spiritually, I guess. Because I think that's what it takes to really be able to step back and see everything for what it is. Those people, they freak out when they're told to freak out. You see what I'm saying? They're not going and doing all this research, looking at statistics and trying to figure out how bad this really is. Should we really be worried? Is it a biological weapon? Are viruses even real? Yeah, there's a lot of theories out there, and I want to get into that. Humans are very social creatures, and as much as people don't like to think they are influenced, their thoughts, things like this, they are. They have their tribes, their groups, and this sort of tells us what is normal, what's okay, It doesn't tell us everything we should be thinking, obviously. But for the people that are plugged into the system, their influencers are the celebrities. It's MSM. And so that's where they go, and they can sort of just laugh off the individuals who are saying nutty conspiracy type of stuff. You know what I mean? So I don't want to harp too much on the conspiracy side of things. I just want people to understand how this all works and why it doesn't necessarily take a boardroom full of people in black suits, working ideas up. If it's darkness, if it's actual evil, and I'm not saying there aren't actual groups of people really talking about things, sure, there are conspiracies that are proven true. I mean, all a conspiracy is people doing things behind in secret that, you know what I mean? And the theory turns out to be real. This has been proven. There are numerous theories that have been proven real. But what I'm talking about is like a deeper darkness that people are just unaware of. And the system as a whole, you can call it the system of the beast or whatever. It doesn't necessarily need people to meet up and talk about these things. People don't know why they do the things they do sometimes. They just do them, and it just works like this domino effect. So basically, I'm saying all this to help people understand how to perceive the world around them without being too heavily influenced. So if you hear something, for instance, and it sounds really crazy, if you're just writing it off and you're not even giving it the time of day to allow it to be a possibility to explore it, even for 5 minutes, even for, 1 minute. If you aren't doing that, then you are influenced. So you see what I'm saying? So if you're told the earth is flat and you just laugh and move on, you're not thinking for yourself. Okay? You're letting the others decide for you. So that brings me to this video where these Chinese people are screaming, it's all fake, it's all fake. And they're so heavily censored there, it's hard to know what they mean by that. I mean, are they saying that nobody's getting sick there, that it's all a lie? Are they saying that it wasn't from an animal? Are they saying it was a bioweapon? Are they saying, you know what I mean? Like, what do they mean by that? I don't know if we can understand that. But what I want to talk about is this virus and what we can get from it, I guess. So a virus is, as Jane's Journey has said, it's like robotic in function. It's not alive. A virus is a weird thing. It just sort of replicates and just works like a little robot through the system. And so it's not like a bacteria that is alive, So really quickly, I want to go over another theory that's out there. I'm going to go over a few theories here, and the reason why is because I like to put every possibility on the table. That's just how I do things. So the Jaundice Vonderplanet's fans, I don't know if I said that right, their fans would know about this, but he sort of preached the idea that viruses aren't what we think they are. They're not real in a sense, like they're not contagious. You can't spread them to each other because they're not alive, right? That sort of makes sense, but we see people getting sick, and we see communities of people at once getting sick as if it's spreading. But what Ajanis was saying is they're made by your system. So your system, as it's cleaning out, as your system is cleansing, and if there's not enough bacteria there to do that job, because that's what the bacteria do, your body will make these little robotic viruses, as they're called, and they cleanse the system out. And then once they do their job, they're gone. And so that's when you get sick. And then lots of people around each other seem to get sick around the same time because, I don't know, low vitamin D levels. I'm not sure. There's so many factors, chemicals, vaccines. He says that, they got injected with something, and that's the only way an animal virus can be in a human. It gets pretty complicated and wild, I guess you could say. It's a theory that I've never really spent too much time on. But I'm saying this because this brings me to the germ theory. And at the time, and I would urge anyone who hasn't looked into the germ theory, the Louis Pasteur, who came up with the germ theory and what modern Western medicine is entirely based on now. At the time, there was Béchamp, another guy who was explaining terrain theory, and his ideas got really snuffed out and forgotten about. But I would urge people to look into this if you're interested in that sort of thing, because it is very interesting. So the terrain theory actually makes more sense, and I think they could be like both right as far as like there's germs, and if we get too many germs, we could get sick. But Béchamp's theory was it's about the terrain. It's about the host. The host needs to be healthy. And so it doesn't matter what bacteria, what germs get on the host. The host can deal with it if they are healthy. It's kind of like mosquitoes go into a pool of water, of stagnant water. The way Western medicine sees it is that they would say, well, the stagnant water calls the mosquitoes. See? We see the stagnant water and we see the mosquitoes. And so the terrain theory, the Bechamp theory would say, well, it's obviously the stagnant water, it's the dirty water that's attracting the mosquitoes. And if you have a clean pool, if you have a clean host, if you keep things healthy, you won't attract the disease. So regardless of all this, people do get sick. The young, the old, people who are immunocompromised, who have weaker immune systems, basically. And so we know all this. But why is it that the coronavirus is so scary? It's because we fear what we don't know. We fear what we don't understand. And so if we look at coronavirus, and we can do this, we can look and see how it relates to like the flu, colds, how, because a lot of people die from the flu every year. Granted, millions of people get the flu, but thousands of people die every year, somewhere between 12,000 and like 60,000, I think it is, depending on the year. So why is the CDC, why is everyone freaking out and wanting us? It seems like they want us to freak out too. It's because everyone's scared of what they don't understand. They don't feel prepared. They don't feel like, oh, we don't have a vaccine yet. We don't know. We haven't dealt with this years and years, so we don't know exactly what to expect. That's why they're freaking out. So this comment actually drives home what I'm saying. It's a good comment, and I'll read it in a second. But polio is another example of people freaking out over something they don't understand. If you look at the statistics, the CDC's statistics of polio, it was only a tiny percentage of people that actually got paralysis. Most people recovered or were asymptomatic. And so it's just a large misunderstanding, or, DDT was being sprayed at the time, and that's what the government or the CDC and all of these people don't want to talk about, is they don't even understand why we think of polio and we immediately think crippling death. It's because we fear what we do not understand, and we won't even allow ourselves to fathom certain possibilities. I'm not saying that you shouldn't be at all concerned or taking precautions. I'm not saying that at all. We should always be prepared as well as we can be, So we should be trying to be healthy. That's what this is all about. We should be healthy so that if we do get sick, if it is actually very contagious and people we know, our family, get sick, we need to be really healthy as we can be, and prepared to deal with that. And we will most likely recover, those of us who are healthy. I want to talk about one last theory before I go into the actual coronavirus and just look at, what's really going on here. So, Dana Ashley, I'll link her channel if anyone is interested, but she talks a lot about 5G, Wi-Fi, and right now they're really pulling it all out. They're really unleashing it in a lot of these cities. And so she's saying, and this kind of ties into the Ajanas theory, that viruses are just a reaction, something that our system is cleansing. It's something our system is making. Well, she's saying we're seeing the contagious, quote unquote, effect. And don't let me mix words, because I don't know exactly how she's saying it. But basically, in the cities where they're rolling out this 5G, people are getting sick, and it's looking like there's some kind of contagion going around. So the reason why I'm putting these theories out there is because I like to look at every possibility. And one of these possibilities, whether you think it's Wi-Fi, whether you think it's our systems making this robotic, quote-unquote, virus, one of these possibilities is that it's actually a virus, just like we have been taught to believe, and it's very contagious, and it's deadly. So these are the newest statistics we have from the WHO and the CDC. They're saying globally 167,515 cases confirmed, 6,606 deaths so far. So that's like 25 people per 1,000 that get it, which is pretty high rate of death, if you ask me. I mean, we'd have to look at every individual person who got it and see, were these all elderly people? Were these mostly people that were sickly? You know what I mean? So we'd have to look and see what's going on to get a better understanding. And I think until we see it widespread in the areas that we live in, we won't fully understand that. I'm just putting up all the regions and of what we're currently looking at so people can see. The CDC is now calling this a pandemic. Pandemic is when it's a new emerging virus that the world has not, gained immunity to, and so it spreads really quickly. And so that's what they're calling it, and it's looking like if these are mostly healthy people getting this, the death rate is pretty high, I will say that. But I don't want to freak out. I'm not even scared, actually, because I'm still hearing that a lot of people are even asymptomatic or just having very minimal symptoms and they're recovering. So, yeah, like I said, until we see it around us, because it will spread, if it is contagious, or as they roll out the Wi-Fi, whatever this is, it's going to spread and it'll get a little bit worse before it gets better. There are a lot of channels that talk in depth about preparedness for these situations, so I won't go into that. What you do not want to do is just stock up on fruit and vegetables like some of these vegans are. And of course, they'll eat rice, beans, things like that. But you need a lot of nourishing foods. You need your system ready to go through a fast, basically, if that comes down to it. You need ammo, guns, if that's your thing, You need to just be prepared, be healthy, cleanliness, practicing, clean hand washing, and we'll be okay. I'm sure of it. I'm sure we'll be okay. All right, God bless.
Here to show the son and delegation touring the grounds. While residents appear to shout, they don't appear. We can fucking hear them. Fake, fake, fake. Everything is fake. Fake, fake, fake. Everything is fake. It's not my new fake song, right, Farley? Fake, fake, fake. Everything is fake. It's my new fake song.